Galactic acid, what's your sign? Listen up for the cosmic line. Stars are shenanigans, they're on a roll. You'll be laughing and learning, feeling the zodiac glow.
Today you might feel a little out of sorts, Scorpio, and your concentration could be diminished. You might even have a little trouble focusing on your work. Don't worry about it. It's more mental than anything else, and it will pass. You might feel the need to drink coffee all day to stay alert. Try to exercise some restraint on this since it could be counterproductive. Hang in there. Which I think is true to an extent.
Just want to say I have had 2 7 brew energy drinks today.
Yeah.
So
Exactly, because you were like, I'm so tired, and you had to have it. So I think that is kind of true. And I don't know. We both took off work today, and I've just been like kind of out of it today. I feel like I slept good. I'm almost like I'm too relaxed today.
Yeah. Well, I also had an energy drink yesterday too, and that's the first one I've had in a while because I'm like, okay, I'm about to be off for 2 days. I need to be laser focused for 9 hours today on my computer screen, and it worked.
Yeah. So we just got back from the haunting of Violet Hill
Manor.
The haunting of Violet Manor. We went and did an escape room, and we had to solve the crime, I guess. I mean, I guess she was technically... It felt like she was locked away by her brother, and he took her idea. And I get the vibe she just died in there. He was like watching her.
Yeah, well,
He
that
died
for sure
watching.
happened because it was like her room, and there was a painting. And keep in mind, this was scary for me. I feel like Danielle was more brave because the door, there was a wall, and we did something, and the door opened to like a black chamber that you could tell she was locked in or he was locked in. But there were peepholes, and they were cut out eyes of a picture in her room.
Yeah, it was creepy.
It was so scary. And the lady was really nice. She let us do both endings. So
She added some more time on the clock.
yeah, she
because
paused
we
the
did run out of
clock at a time.
But we went into it. This was a difficult one. Never done escape room ever.
Never.
And so we both were like, let's just go do this one. And so I feel like we did decent despite it, because some of it would be like really hard to like just randomly figure out on your own.
Oh yeah, and she gave us a bunch of hints, and I could not have done it if she didn't give us hints. But she let us do both endings, so there was like a good ending and a bad ending. We chose the bad ending first. That was my bad.
Yeah, I felt bad.
Because I was getting vibes from, her name was Evelyn.
Yes.
Getting vibes from Evelyn's painting, ghost painting, where she was talking about us, talking to us, that I just felt like she was lying. Like, I felt like she was saying,
like, don't put this
set my soul free, but if you put it in there, it's not going to set my soul free. I'm like, okay, what if you're Loki the bad guy, and this thing that we had to put in here is, like, the good person, and, like, you're secretly bad? So, but that was wrong, so it went black, lights went off, her picture was pissed, there were red lights.
Why did you do this to me?
Yeah,
Sorry, girl.
We were like, oopsies. And so the lady came in, and then we got to do the second ending, which was so hard. I would not have been able to do that if she didn't come in.
How in the hell would you be able to figure that out? Like, you need to do this, so then it opens this, and then you guys have to do this together. And then you have to say the words together.
We have to pull the levers together, and
I feel like if you're someone who's been doing escape rooms for a while and have been doing it easy to moderate, like that is something that maybe your brain would know to do after being through others, but we had never done it before. So that is not something that just someone would be able to just know.
And I have a fear of Ouija boards. And there was a Ouija board in there, and I'm like, hell no. It was paper, like it wasn't real, that's what I tell myself. But every horror movie starts with somebody touching a Ouija board. Which, now that I think about it, we didn't say goodbye. Like, we didn't put the thing back to goodbye. So, but I don't think we summoned it correctly. Like, we didn't.
No, we didn't actually have to do anything on the Ouija board.
I was just saying, like, Evelyn, honey, we're here.
Yeah.
Evelyn, speak to us.
Yeah, but how fitting we felt like that we went and did a room like this right before we filmed this podcast, which, as you can tell, looks a little different. It's a little bit more the vibe that we had when we first decided to start doing this just over 6 months ago.
Back to our roots.
And we haven't released an episode in like almost a month at this point. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But we were just like, you know, Mallory was going to come here to visit me anyway, now that we're farther apart. And we're like, let's do an in-person one. And let's kind of have it be more of a vibe. We like look back at that old footage and it just felt really fun. And so we're kind of figuring out what we want to do going forward with the podcast. It may be something where before we were doing an episode every other week. We may only do it once a month now, and it be where we're trying to do it together. However, we talked about maybe just doing some like little, like if something comes up in the week that we feel like would be really fun to talk about, we might both just get on this app that we use, even if we're away, and just like post a little blurb. So you may see things kind of get posted weekly on TikTok or YouTube or Spotify, just short little blurbs. But our main episode, kind of what we want to do is try to do it about once a month. So just wanted to give an update where we've been, where we plan on going. We're trying to figure it out as we do it. And yeah, anything else to add?
No, not really. We're going back to our roots. We are trying to be a little bit more astrology because we are astrology amateurs.
Exactly.
And
disclaimer, just astrology amateurs. Like today, I know the retrograde ended today.
Well, that's the thing though, because we decided to wait around the solar eclipse time. And we were like, we are so bad. We didn't talk about the retrograde. We didn't talk about the solar eclipse. Like massive events that astrologers or astrology people would talk about and would know. And we just didn't even think about it.
And the last episode was like days leading up to the retrograde. And like I wanted to talk about shadow effects that was actually happening to me. Because I felt like there was a day where it was just like every little thing was going wrong, and it wasn't even like obvious big things, but it was like enough little things that it was almost like laughable. It was so ridiculous. I wanted to talk about that, and literally we get done with the podcast. I text you like 30 minutes later. We didn't even talk about that. You're like, we're the worst astrology podcasters ever, because that was something we definitely wanted to bring up, but we just got distracted.
I know, and we were supposed to release an episode on the solar eclipse day. Like that would have been perfect because Danielle lived in 99% totality.
Yeah, like it was supposed to be a lot better, but I still don't think that, I mean, we ended up having it and it wasn't like as dark as I saw other places get where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you were 99% because I know the difference between 99% and 100%
is a big difference.
Is big.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've dropped the ball, but it's okay. We're like figuring out. And that's why we think that like if we just focus on having one main episode a month, whether we're together or not, we just want to try to get together more. And then doing little pop-up things, then we can catch when those things happen and be able to speak to it a little bit better.
And a couple things that we're doing to kind of get back to our roots. I am becoming a tarot card expert. So I got this. It is so cute. You literally just make your own tarot cards, but it kind of explains how to read tarot, what the major deck, I don't know what that means. And there's minor cards. I don't know. I haven't gotten very far. Amateurs here. But I also got a full deck. So today is going to be the first real reading of tarot.
I'm very interested.
So we'll see. Danielle was playing around with the cards earlier, just being funny.
And one of them was like legit.
And she pulled a card that would like make complete sense as to what her life is. So we're amateurs, but like it's gonna be fun.
It'll be fun.
That's one thing. And then another thing is, like Danielle said, trying to make our topics more astrology related and more meaningful. So that doesn't mean we want to talk about pop culture here
or anything else, yeah.
Right, or anything else. But the root of what we wanted to talk about today, well, what I wanted to talk about, Danielle has no idea what this is.
Yeah, I'm going to learn.
Is the Akashic Records. I saw a TikTok months ago, and I wanted to talk about this ever since because it is so mind-blowing to my brain, but it's also so mind-blowing and so complex that I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain it well. I literally typed in Akashic Records for Dummies on Google to try to find a dumbed-down explanation of what they are. But essentially, Akashic Records are every thought, everything that's ever happened, whether it was something that somebody thought or whether it was an event that happened, literally anything that's ever happened, the past, present, or future, it's hanging around in these waves. Like
you said,
Wi-Fi waves.
Yeah.
So Wi-Fi, we can't see that, and it's obviously real because it is on our phones and our computers, and we know that Wi-Fi is a thing. And so the Akashic Records kind of move in the same way as Wi-Fi, and you just have to understand how to access them in your brain to be able to read them. One of the main people that they keep talking about when I look stuff up about this is Edgar Cayce. And he would just, I guess, clear his brain and lay there, and it would be like a man, or he would go to like a library. When people talk about it, it's like they're going to a place and it's just knowledge, and they're thinking about stuff, and answers are coming to the questions that they're asking these records. So that's a very high level overview. It is so confusing to my brain. But the thing that I think is so crazy is stuff that has been accurately predicted from these records.
Yeah, we need the proof is in the pudding, or what they say. So
right.
Maybe you'll make me and others believers of this. Because if there are things that are true, it's like,
So this is just from, I'm not even going to quote this website because I don't know what that even says. But this is from a website on Google. It is
HelenaWoods.com.
Okay.
/ beginner's guide to reading the, how do you say that? Akashic Records. So we're giving credit where credit is due.
It's Helen A. Woods, Helena Woods, Helen A. Woods, whatever.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna read this, and if you are so smart and this makes sense to you, props to you. But this is so over my head, but my brain understands what it is.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. Okay, what are the Akashic Records? The term Akashic has its roots in the Sanskrit word Akasha, whatever, meaning sky or atmosphere. So it goes without saying that the Akashic Records are thought to exist in either an ether, in the non-physical plane of existence, aka the mental plane, which is like Wi-Fi.
So
the
kind of
Wi-Fi
like your
waves.
brain.
And your brain is the iPhone receiving these waves.
It's so crazy.
I don't get it. I don't. The Akashic Records are like an energetic log, a Google search for your soul. And in it are records of everything that has ever existed or taken place, human lifetimes, but also the records of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intents ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future in terms of all entities and life forms. I watched a video that kind of explained it like different dimensions. That was way over my head, but like it low-key made sense, but I don't even know how to articulate it because it's so complex. In essence, when you read your own records or the records of someone else, you are connecting with the soul of a person. It's a sacred space. One that is deeply personal, private, and that spans all lifetimes of a particular soul. So this ties to souls living different lives in different bodies and souls maturing, and it's so deep. We're not going to go that deep today because it's so confusing. Anyone and everyone has access to them, and they are very simple to open. So these are tips for reading your Akashic Records.
Okay.
You need to ground yourself. Before you venture on and say the pathway prayer out loud, first connect with light healing energy. Okay. You may want to do a 5-minute meditation or some breath work to release any fear or worry. Your brain's got to be dead, I guess, to be able to receive these waves. Say that's not correct grammar. Say an opening prayer out loud. I personally believe the Akashic Records can be accessed in a multitude of ways. There are a myriad of prayers out there to access the records. Use that one that connects and resonates deeply with you. She doesn't say what she likes to say, though, so I'm curious what those prayers say. Linda's pathway prayers.
I think that's what she was saying. I think that there's I think there's like a ton of different prayers, so maybe it just
she's trying to get us to buy a book. Okay. Ask for the information you're looking for. Accessing the Akashic Records isn't as complicated as you think. It's like a Google search for your soul. See, that makes sense to my brain. After reciting the pathway prayer out loud, you're in. Simple as that. But once you're in them, what do? Simply connect with the energy. Ground yourself in the energy you are receiving. Then when you're ready, ask your question out loud. Thinking of searching the Akashic Records as if you're doing a Google search of your soul. What do you want to know? Where do you need guidance? Feel free to get specific and ask about a fear or worry you're encountering. So I know people go to kind of like a psychic, but they get their Akashic Records read. And Edgar Casey is someone who's very famously predicted things that have come true. But when you read these things, it's like, okay, 29-year-old physician male came to see him for a reading. He asked this question. And then Edgar goes and does his thing and gets the answers to these questions. So it's kind of like a psychic reading. Kind of. Step 4, you got to ask for permission. It's a sacred place, no doubt about that. So when you're reading another person's soul history, you need to ask them for permission first.
Consent.
Yes, we love that. You also can't open the records for anyone under the age of 18. Okay. Because they need to be able to give full consent. I know a lot of parents may want to know more information about their child's soul or past life. As a parent, I do not want to know anything about my child's soul or past life.
Yeah, that's theirs to know.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Wait until they're of age before requesting access. Step 5, close the record. See, this is kind of like the Ouija board when you gotta say goodbye.
I know, this whole thing is giving me like the escape room flashbacks. Like, say the prayer. It was like, say the name. Repeat Evelyn's name.
After receiving the information you need, you'll need to close the records. Recite the closing prayer to close it. No worries if you forget them. There have been a few times I opened the records before falling asleep at night and ended up having some pretty intense dreams, only to remember that I forgot to close them later the next day. That's kind of scary.
I would be very interested to do this because I feel like I already am a very intuitive person. I already have dreams like all the time that maybe not only come true, but some element of it comes true or something happens in life. Like I have a note I'm keeping on my phone over the past couple of years because there's been so many crazy things. You've like witnessed me come to work when we work together and say something, and then it quite literally like happened.
You've said something about me before. I don't know.
And then within the week something related happened.
Yeah. So anytime Danielle has a dream about me, I'm like, I don't want to know. That scares me.
Well,
unless it was good.
And then it was like that same week I had a dream about my past coworker. Her and her boyfriend broke up. They've been together for like 5 years, and then she came a couple weeks later. She's like, we broke up. And like I don't think about her or dream about her outside of that setting, So it was crazy. So my point is, I'd be very curious to see what kind of dreams I would have if I forgot to close the records or doing the closing prayer. I can only imagine. I feel like straight chaos would ensue for myself and everyone else around me.
I would be curious to know that. Step 6, write down your messages. Often the entire experience and all the information you receive feels like a fuzzy, long dream. You may receive a lot of visual information in a short amount of time, so I highly recommend keeping a journal just for your Akashic Record experiences. This scares me. I don't think I would ever want to do this because I don't know, stuff like this scares me. Like psychic stuff. Like, I would never want to be a psychic.
I think for me, to go back to what I was just saying, like, I already have like random feelings and intuitive and dreams, and like to me that's scary enough. I feel like this is like a whole other territory and world that could be, I don't know.
Well, one thing that scares me is because of some stuff that these people predict. Like, they saw this stuff coming and they knew it was going to come.
And it's kind of like goes to the thing, if you try to change it or the outcome, like that'll affect other things elsewhere, because that's like what's supposed to be happening, or it'll still end up happening in some way, shape, or form because it's what was supposed to. I don't know.
Well, this says, can you experience negative energies in the Akashic Records? Know that energy is healing, meditative, and uplifting. If you feel any dark feelings while on their records or feel compelled to do something you normally wouldn't do, anxiety may be manifesting on a subconscious level. So, that's good. How to open them. Oh, here's the opening prayer. I don't want to say this because I don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to accidentally do something.
I don't want to.
But just know that you can find it on this website. I'm sure Google. I'm sure there's others. It even ends with the records are now open.
Oh, that's even you saying that like gave me chills. I just got scared.
No, I don't want to do that.
No, it says help me to know parentheses myself / legal first and last name of individual being read.
Dang,
No, absolutely not. And then it says the closing prayer. I would like to thank the masters. I'm getting chills.
The last 3 sentences, though, are repeated. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen.
Don't say it a third time. I feel like that's going to bring bad energy or something.
That is creepy.
That's actually really scary. So on to the crazier stuff now. The predictions that have come true.
Oh, yes. I forgot. I already forgot about that.
So I just searched the most famous people to have ever accessed the Akashic Records and some of their most famous predictions. And I'll save the craziest one for last. So, the first one, who is this one? Nostradamus. He's really famous. I recognize the name. I think 1500s was when he was born, sometime in the 15th.
He had something to do with the plague.
He probably predicted the plague.
Something health related.
He predicted a lot of stuff. And he still predicts stuff. That's one thing that all these people have in common, is that they've predicted things well after their death. And you can look up, what did Nostradamus predict for 2023? What did he predict for 2024? And it will show things that they're predicting. A lot of them are very similar, like pretty generic stuff, like bad weather. What was another one? Like the state of the economy is going to be so bad that people are going to start eating each other.
Oh.
I think that was Nostradamus. Stuff like that. But some of his most famous predictions are Hitler. He predicted Hitler somehow. And the Twin Towers. Several people predicted the Twin Towers on this list. And it has, on this website, the exact phrase of, oh yes, his 9/11 prediction. He predicted that 2 steel birds would fall from the sky on the metropolis. The sky will burn at 45 degrees latitude. Fire approaches the great new city. Immediately, a huge scattered flame leaps up within months. Rivers will flow with blood. The undead will roam the earth for little time. So, I guess that's what people were like, oh my god, 9/11 happened. And they're like, wait. That one guy in 1555 said that 2 steel birds were going to fall from the sky. On a metropolis, the sky's going to burn. Fire approaches the city. To me, that's very vague.
This is vague. I mean, the thing is, what is it? I don't know if this saying applies here. It's like, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Like, you can always, you could say something, and it's probably going to happen somewhere in the universe. Now, if he was like, planes are going to hit the Twin Towers, but then at the
Planes
same
weren't even a thing in the 1500s.
but then at the same point, the people that hit the Twin Towers could have saw that and then went and did it, and it's like if he wouldn't have said it, maybe it wouldn't have happened. It's just, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of what is the guy? Oh my god, why can't I today is not a good day for my brain. The guy who invented Microsoft.
Bill Gates?
Yes. It's kind of like how he didn't necessarily predict COVID, but it wasn't very long ago. I think it was maybe 2015 or something. There's a video where he's like, the next big issue in our world isn't going to be something that everyone said. He's like, it's going to be a pandemic. He's like, we're going to have another pandemic. He's like, we're due for one. It's going to happen. And then it like happened not that long after it, you know, and just stuff like that. I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. It's like, he wasn't wrong.
Popcorn break. Yeah, I feel like that could be anything. Like, I think another event similar could happen, and people would be like, oh my god, you predicted it. This says another quatrain. What is a quatrain? I'm not saying that right. Quatrain. Quatrain, I think I'm going to sound really dumb in this episode.
It's okay. It's late.
A stanza of 4 lines, especially one having alternate rhymes.
That cleared it up.
Okay. So another one read, in the city of God there will be a great thunder, 2 brothers torn apart by chaos, while the fortress endures, the great leader will succumb, the third big war will begin when the big city is burning.
Are we sure these aren't Taylor Swift lyrics?
Literally. You left my typewriter. You left your typewriter in my apartment. That kind of confused me.
Say what?
Yeah. So, I don't know if there's anything else. King Charles III. Whatever happened to King Charles III, I'm not too educated on that. Yes, he's the one that predicted for 2023, predicted a great war, an economy so bad that humankind might resort to cannibalism, and something that could happen with or on Mars. That was his 2023 prediction. Which,
we're not doing great.
I mean, there was the Ukraine war. Didn't that start in 2023?
No, it started in like 2021 or 2022. Yeah.
Are you serious?
I looked this up before I left my last job because I worked in where there was a news department. I talked about it with this guy, and we thought it was like much more recent than it actually was.
2023, I thought.
Let me look it up. Just to double check, but no, I think there is another one there going on in Gaza, though. Are you thinking about that one?
No.
Ukraine war
With Russia.
started when? Oh my gosh, no. It was in, I'm pretty sure it was 2022. 2022 at least, but it was like the beginning of 2022, I'm pretty sure. It's crazy that it's crazy it's been going on for 2 years.
That's actually mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So, I guess no wars did start in 2023.
But pretty close to what he said.
Yeah. Another famous Akashic Record accessor, Nikola Tesla. He predicted Wi-Fi. He boldly predicted that one day it would be possible to transmit telephone signals, documents, music, and video around the world using wireless technology. Which, when was this guy alive? Okay, born in 1856.
Yeah.
And he said, was video even around in 1856?
I'm probably sure they had they probably had like video cameras stuff, but it wasn't like great quality. I mean, to see how it's like we went into the internet, which he never saw, and to now be on phones and be able to do that stuff. But that's still like really ahead of his time.
Very.
Because like technology had not advanced to a point to, I feel like, accurately predict that, if that makes sense.
Right. Mobile phones. Another forecast for the future that Tesla made was in an interview with Collier's magazine in 1926. Building on his idea of technology capable of transmitting images, music, and even video throughout the world, he coined the phrase best pocket technology and possibly predicted the invention of the smartphone nearly 100 years before it became physically available.
Wild.
Female empowerment! In that same interview, was entitled When Woman is Boss, and largely focused on how he thought that women would one day use wireless technology to gain better education, employment, and eventually become the dominant sex. Thank you, Mr. Tesla.
Yes, we love that.
Thank you,
more
Mr.
men like
Tesla.
that.
That's going to come true. Drones. In 1898, Tesla demonstrated a wireless and remote-controlled teleautomation, which most of us today would refer to as a remote-controlled toy boat. I feel like these are more tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a little bit more,
than
the other.
Two steel birds are going to burn at 40 degrees latitude.
It's weirdly specific in other ways like that. And maybe once it happens, we'll be like, that's what he was talking about.
Oh! The fifth one says wireless electricity. Tesla's main passion was electricity. He boldly proclaimed that the progress of the whole human race is regulated by the power available, and was referring to his belief that a free supply of electricity would help people struggling with poverty and a scarcity of resources. Okay, I like those predictions. Those were all positive predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one. Yes, he predicted AI.
Oh my.
And that's come true, as we can see. This lady, Baba Vanga, I don't remember. There was a tragedy that she suffered. I wonder if this says it. It doesn't say. She is blind, but she wasn't born blind. Something horrible happened to her that resulted in her being blind. I don't remember what it was. But she's got some morbid predictions.
I don't mean this to be bad. I'm sorry, I have a dark humor. That she's blind, but she can see still the things that are coming.
But only the bad stuff.
That's scary.
The first one, rise of cyber warfare. Which that's kind of happening. Which, let me see when she was alive. Wait a second. This says born blind.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Hang on. I need to Google this because the video that I watched most definitely said that it was like a tragic event. Was able to see the future, power she yes, a tornado.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that was it. A tornado happened on her walk home, and she was sucked up in the tornado, and they found her laying in a field with like tornado stuff all over her, and that made her blind.
That is terrifying.
I completely forgot.
I can't believe you forgot the tornado, considering
tornado anxiety.
Yeah, that's great. You just blocked it out.
Yes.
That is terrifying.
So Baba predicted cyber warfare, which I feel like that's kind of happening because remember the MGM cyber attacks where the hackers were holding the MGM stuff in Vegas.
Yeah, there's just been
ransom.
It's just there's been a lot of security attack, security threats in general.
The city that I live in, the city was hacked, and the hackers were holding everything for ransom. Like, we couldn't pay our bills for months because the city was hacked.
That's wild.
And my husband works for the city, and they didn't have like email service or anything because it was all hacked.
It's so weird.
And there's like 20,000 people in my city.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So that's accurate.
That's pretty. I mean, you hear about like companies getting hacked and just like, oh, we got to send you a new card in the mail because it was a hack. But like, that's wild months to not be able to pay.
We just got our first bill, like our water bill last month, and it was like $300.
Like,
yeah.
Listen, not my problem. You got hacked.
Exactly. This one, economic turmoil. I feel like anybody could say that though. Like, it's gonna happen at some point.
It ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
We're going through another situation that happened back in 2008. So
Yeah.
it's like that has probably happened and unhappened many times since that prediction. So
Right. This is the rise of terrorism. She warned the world that Europe would be subjected to several terror attacks. She also warned that a major country will be engaged in biowarfare. Currently, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which was triggered by the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing war between Israel and Palestine, are some of the hot button geopolitical issues. That's another one that I think is so vague that it was going to happen eventually.
yeah, I just feel like when you get into like, oh, the economy, oh, war, it's like that's always been happening. Like those are things that have always happened. So
Right.
those are a little like, okay, like
This one says not all of her predictions are doom and gloom, most, but not all. This one says medical miracles. This is another vague one. She predicted that medical researchers may just find the cure for Alzheimer's and cancer in 2024. Whoa. Another one, climate change. I feel like that's another vague one. But this is the one that I think is the most morbid of all. End of the world. Miss Baba predicts that, well, it says her predictions stop on 5079. That's when the world would end, she claimed. I don't even like saying that.
that's so weird.
I do not like saying that. Baba, I'm going to say you're wrong on that one. Knock on wood.
Well,
So it's kind of wild just thinking about all these things that people just envisioned in their brain through these Wi-Fi waves.
it's scary.
Very scary.
It's almost like maybe we should just keep it closed.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Amen,
knowing the
amen.
information help us in the future. Like, will it help us make the future better if we know this now?
Well, one of the videos that I watched, it did explain it, like, if you don't like your reading that you got, or if you don't like what you're seeing in the records, you have the power to change them.
yeah.
But it's like, if you reference, like, the terrorist attacks, like, how do we change that?
We become better people. Like, we actively try to be better. Like climate change. Let's
Well,
recycle.
yeah.
Let's do things. If we all were to do it,
Uh-huh.
then it could make a difference.
Mhm.
One person isn't going to.
Right. So I think that's more so for if you were to get, like, a personal Akashic record reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of the gist.
It's interesting. I've
It
never
is
heard of this
very-
before. I feel like I need to go down a YouTube rabbit hole.
You'll probably get TikToks of it now because
I'm
that's
sure.
how I first saw it.
As long as we have TikTok.
Right. Oh my gosh, the freaking ban. I saw that
So dumb.
Biden signed the bill.
But it's because they shoved this into a different bill with more serious issues. And people are like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's put that with the more serious bill and sign it. So I don't know what that will mean. I guess we'll find out.
Something new will pop
It's
up.
so dumb.
It will just be on to the next social media. Just like Vine. There was a Vine. That was pretty much like TikTok.
It was, but it was only 7 seconds. And so TikTok's
Right.
just too big. It's there for so many reasons. It helps artists. It helps people. It helps like companies randomly. Like someone will just like make like you could like post about this shit like so good, you guys, and it could pop off, and it would help the people that make that. Like, there's
Rainbow
so
Sherbet.
people advertise.
Saturday.
Like there's so many reasons. Like I discover so much music from that, and so I don't know. They need to figure it out. I think we got bigger fish to fry and to focus on, and it's one of those things where it's like if we're focusing so much on this, like what other serious shit's going on that we're like trying to like distract.
Cover up.
Yeah, which I'm sure there's plenty.
Right.
But yeah.
tarot card.
Oh yeah, this official tarot card. I'm really curious about.
We move
this.
my popcorn out of the way.
We're gonna see if all the
First of
TikTok tarots that you get, you know, if you're gonna be an expert at this, is what I'm trying.
I know.
To say.
I should have read how to do this before we did this. I just didn't know how many cards I need to pull.
If you guys are watching the video of this, my cat decided to join us for this. You may not be able to see her. She's all black, so she really fits the vibe.
It comes with a little book to tell me everything that I need to know. Shuffling the cards is like a miniature ritual. Okay.
But
as you sit quietly jumbling the cards, you might notice that your mind begins to settle down. Breathe deeply and take the questions into your mind. And keep the questions in your mind as clearly as you can. Oh yes, because they want you to like be thinking of questions. Because we do YouTube tarot with tarot.youtube.com.
I never say it right. If
Some-
you Google that, it will pop up for you.
We do those all the time, and it makes you think of a question in your head as you're trying
That's
to.
right. So there's like
pick cards.
there's like three girls, like love, wellness, and what wealth or something. So you pick one, and then they will like lay out a deck, and you have to think of something in your mind, and then you pick the card. But you know, it's not the way the TikTok tarot people do it. They're kind of just like, "This is for you. Take what resonates, leave the rest." So this is gonna be the same vibe for anybody out there. If you get this, then maybe it was supposed to resonate with you.
These are really hard to shuffle. Okay, so I'm going to do one because anything more than one is going to be too complex for my first ever tarot reading.
Yes.
So,
Soon you'll be an expert, but not.
yes. And this is for everybody. This isn't just the Mia Tarot. That I'm accessing everybody's souls right now through the Akashic Records to do this tarot card reading. So, okay, these are shuffled enough. So I think I'm going to spread them out. And
Those are fun. This
Yeah.
is giving that vibe.
yeah, so
It's
spread
like,
them
oh,
out.
this one's a little taller.
Here's the thing. I have a fetish.
Whoa, tell us more.
But wait, so I've told you this story many times before. Tanner's family, the first time Tanner,
Her husband.
my husband's family, I went on like kind of a little bit of a vacation with
Yes,
him.
I've heard this.
Yes. And they were all like so excited. His cousin is into like rocks and things like that, and like crystals, and they speak to her and things like that. And which I kind of feel like is this vibe. They were so excited to go to this fetish shop. They kept calling it a fetish shop. Like, we're gonna go to this fetish shop today.
I feel like, what did I get into?
And this is in New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico, to give you a vibe of the place. And I'm like, all right, hell yeah, I'm going to a fetish shop with my husband's whole family. This is going to be really, really cool. Like, there's going to be fuzzy handcuffs on the walls. There's going to be weird shit around. And we get in there, and it's a bunch of rocks. Like, rocks carved into little creatures and little figurines. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
What do you do with
And I'm
these
like,
figurines?
and this is the first time I met a lot of his family. So I'm like, hell yeah, all right. And yeah, one of the things that I had to do to figure out which figurine was for me was to get a card, and whatever the card was what I was.
Yeah.
But it was like this, like you shuffled them and then you laid them out, and I was told to just move my hands over them, and when they started to tingle, that was the card that I needed to pick. So
Oh my God.
I did this, and I'm like, I can't tell if I'm feeling a tingle or not. So I picked one, and it was the turtle, and the turtle signified like a motherly, like motherly stuff, like Mother Nature, like the turtles got the world on its back. And I was 6 months pregnant at the time.
That's
So his
funny.
whole family is like, oh my god, you are the turtle. You are going to be a mother. Like, they were really, really into it. And they bought me a turtle, and it's really nice. And I have it on my desk, and you're supposed to, like, rub it for good luck. I don't know.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so this is giving me fetish vibes.
Okay, so when your fingers start tingling.
When my hand starts to tingle, that's when I'm going to stop. Like, I feel like it's tingling over my brain. Okay, but I don't know. Do I just throw it up in the air? Because it's supposed to be like, there's reverse and there's upright.
I would just flip it, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. We got... No, there's Roman numerals. 7. Okay, the 7 of Swords. And we got it upright. So negative thoughts, self-imposed restriction, imprisonment, victim mentality, and entrapment. Let me get out my little book. Oh, wait.
It's the 8 of Swords.
Swords.
Because I noticed there's like a line, there's a 1 missing. I feel like I don't hear much about that, but I feel like I hear about 7.
Okay, 8 of Swords. A woman bound and hoodwinked with her swords of the cards above her. By the candlelight. Bad news, violent jargon, crisis, censure, power in trammels, conflict, calumny, also sickness.
That's not fun.
So I don't know what that's trying to tell us, but it doesn't feel positive.
No.
So let's proceed with caution this month, fellow people watching this podcast, because I don't know what this means, but that does not sound good.
No, it doesn't.
Manifestations, practically skilled, absolute decision, business, the ego.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
So
So
sorry.
let's get rid of those negative thoughts and self-imposed restrictions. Let's get rid of that imprisonment and that victim mentality this month.
Sounds good. Well,
That was
first
really
tarot
interesting.
card success. I don't know.
They're only gonna get better from here.
Don't like that Mallory's hand tingled on that one.
Okay.
Alright.
Well, ladies and gents, guys and gals, and theys and thems,
Yes.
have a great day.
Month, maybe. I don't
Month.
know. Maybe you'll hear from us next week. Maybe 2 weeks. Maybe in a couple days. Maybe a month. So it'll at least be a month. But like we said, we're figuring it out. So
We're going with the flow.
yeah.
And we're glad that you're here with us.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye!
Stars like shenanigans, they're out of this world. Lost in with the zodiac like a map, the cosmic tea.